It's the 13th day of December 2015, and this is The Radical Agnostic, episode 40. My name is John. I'm your host. My co-host is Mark.
Hi.
We got the stowaway guest, Brian Richter, on mic number 4.
Hola.
And the other stowaway guest, Eddie West.
How y'all doing?
Every week on this show, we chip away at the greatest conspiracy humankind has ever known. Ideology. How can so many different and opposing ideologies conspire together, you ask? Because they feed off of each other. They thrive on the faulty logic of their enemies, only to produce more of the same themselves. Ignorance breeds ignorance and warms itself by the fire of hate. This is the show where we peek under the dirty sheets of dogma and fumigate the bedbugs of bullshit. What do you think?
Oh, I think that's a pretty...
How long have you been writing that?
Pretty hefty lead-in.
7 minutes this morning.
Nice.
It's well spent.
Well, you
7.
are a paid writer. I can see why you would be able to just bust that out.
Well, guys, I don't like to brag. You know, I'm in pretty good shape, too.
7-minute ads.
Oh, man. We got so much to talk about. We got a great show for you today. Like I said, episode 40. Mark has nail polish on. Just noticed that.
Actually, I think it's white out.
Oh.
But, yeah.
That counts.
Yep.
Was there something written on your nails that was unsuitable for the general public, so you had to white it out?
No, you just got fancy.
No,
got fancy for show
I was at a
number
friend's
40.
house who has 3 small daughters, and
That's how that happens.
they like to write on you, scribble on you.
Remember what I told you? My assessment of Mark?
What?
My 2-word assessment? Angry sweetheart?
Yeah, he is. Mark, you were all nice and happy on the internet this week.
You were, man.
What happened?
I'm glad I'm feeling better because it was so much less entertaining than watching you tear the world apart.
I liked it.
I like watching him wreck shit.
No beefs to talk about.
Oh, no, I've still got them.
I don't know. Let's jump in, guys. We got all these cool segments today. We're gonna do something called Poe or No. We're gonna do that 3-box riddle for Eddie and Mark. For those of you who heard it last week, I'll try to rush through it.
See if they can get it wrong twice in a row like I did.
Is this the Monty Hall problem?
Yes. Don't talk. You're not in
if
anymore.
you know it, then you stop. It's just for Mark.
Dang it, I should have pretended I didn't know.
Yeah. You'd be like, I choose.
It took me a really long time to viscerally understand.
Oh, it's so hard. It's so counterintuitive.
I got it right away once you change the perspective. I'm
Right.
like, oh, now it makes total sense.
Yeah.
but
Then we
I
got
had to figure that out on my own.
I got a little spontaneous challenge for Eddie regarding the skeptical culture that he represents on the show. Resident skeptic Eddie West. We did the if we had to bet on whether like supernatural things exist that one time, and we all actually no one asked me my opinion, but you guys answered, so we're gonna ask that question of Brian.
I don't even remember what I answered.
Yeah.
What was it?
I don't know. I have no idea. So then we got some science news, and then some other crap about the war on terror and all that shit. Might do a little trumpety trumpers.
It's funny because when you were saying Trump, I was thinking about my toe.
They look similar.
They do. They're both wrecked.
They're both causing pain to the host, to their host.
So many parallels.
Yeah. They both have messy white hair.
No, they shaved all my hobbit foot toe hair off. I got a good shave.
But he has like golden hair anyway, doesn't he? Flaxen, Trump?
Yeah.
Is it flaxen?
Jesus.
I don't know what flaxen means.
He's an old.
Yeah, neither do I. Well, let's start with misleading headlines. You all, I'm sure, are equally pissed about reading headlines, especially in science news, where...
No, just stop there.
Go ahead.
Almost always.
Yeah.
Just that, because
where the information in the article does not reflect the statement in the headline.
And I'm just saying you're repeating yourself.
Yeah.
Because whenever you see science news, that's what it is.
It really often is. Yeah, like I saw one the other day. Australian physicists prove time travel is possible. I'm like, I know this is bullshit. Like, I know that in quantum mechanics there are some things that you could call time travel, but that headline is obviously meant to indicate that
why
people can like climb into a box and go back to the 50s.
You know why
and
I
that
didn't
they've
even,
now proven that in Australia.
Yeah, why I didn't even read that is because I'm like, see, now that's something that might have broken the doldrum on CNN. That probably would have broken through. Hey, fellas, we figured it out. We just sent this kid back to 1930.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unfortunately, he was killed by Nazis.
He was immediately killed by the horrible forces of the time machine. He was just a paste when he arrived. The one
that came out as mustard gas.
Oh, and I also before I forget, Eddie West. I requested the other night that he send me some of his fictional short stories, and I just read the first one. And it was fucking great. It was really good, man. It was solid. It was tight. There was nothing wrong with it. And it was exciting little fantasy or post-apocalyptic, sort of sci-fi fantasy thing. And it had little hints of the universe, surrounding it that makes the reader like, oh, I wonder what he means by that. Or you kind of imagine the course of events. And it had a philosophical point right at the heart of it and didn't really presume to answer that question. It just sort of raised it in a discomforting way. And I just really liked it, man. So,
well, thanks.
Wait, that's available online,
Correct.
right? So what's it called? How do they get it? Real quick.
It's on Amazon. It's in the Kindle store. So anybody who reads any books on their phone or has a Kindle or an iPad or anything like that, if you go to Amazon and just if you look up either my name, Eddie West, or if you look up Matchmakers and Other Stories, either way it should come up. It's got a really weird cover, so like it stands out.
Cool. Excellent, guys. Check it out. I read the first one. I'm going to read some more this week. And dude's got chops, man.
On a side note, it's worth noting that the Amazon does this thing where if you Kindle Unlimited, if you do read a lot of books on Kindle, you may get it. Books you get them for free, basically. And then if you read based on how many pages you've read, Amazon reimburses the author. So if anybody's got Kindle Unlimited, it's free. So come on, man.
That's cool. I'm actually getting a Kindle. They're $50 on Amazon right now, the small ones. So we're getting one for.
I was looking at them.
Yeah. All right. So the misleading headline that chapped my ass, ladies and gentlemen, was a poll done by CNBC of American millionaires, people with assets, total assets of $1 million or more, which actually includes, people that we wouldn't think of as like super rich. They include like doctors and stuff who have a nice house or, a good, nice car and then a good salary. But anyway, they interviewed, and I know Mark doesn't believe in any polls or that there's any such thing as scientific polling, but
I think it's easily manipulated and
polling's a social
generally
science.
Not 100%.
Okay, it's never 100%.
Accurate
let me just pose.
researchable.
Let me just pose this version of a question I think Mark asked before. Has anybody sitting at this table ever been called on the phone or contacted in any way about these political polls?
Well, now I can't. For one,
You
Eddie
have?
says yes,
Yeah,
and I
a
can't.
couple times.
I say I'm not sure because whenever I answer the phone and it's a weird number and someone starts reading something off, I don't go no thanks. I hang up within 1 second. I turn the phone off immediately.
If I'm talking, I'll if it's
But
a
that
person.
still means you haven't been polled.
Right, but I might have been. Right.
Yeah, but he's indicating he may have refused to be polled.
All right, we can
It
get
doesn't
into
matter.
We can get in.
He hasn't been polled.
We can get into
So at
the
gunpoint next time.
We can get into the whether the this quote unquote science behind polling.
It's very rough too, since you guys haven't been polled, and obviously it depends on the pollster, et cetera, et cetera. But like, they often don't allow for a lot of nuance.
No, they don't at
So
all.
like, I'll be like, I don't know about X, Y, and they'll be like, can you please just give one of the answers?
Yeah,
I gave
yes
you?
or
Like, and I'm
no,
like, well,
or
but
come up
those
with
don't. If you had to choose between
Yeah,
blank and blank, who would you
right,
choose? And I'm like,
right.
well, frankly, neither. I mean, if you had to choose, I don't know.
But it's, but if they say of all the presidential candidates, are you planning on supporting one? That doesn't. I mean, that's a reasonable question to me. But anyway, they interviewed 750 millionaires, and they asked them, who are you supporting for president out of all the candidates, both sides, and of course, millionaires traditionally have supported, not by much, because the richer you are, the more liberal you are usually. However, you're also more self-interested, so you're going to a lot of times vote for the party that's going to protect your wealth. At least you think it will. So traditionally they go for Republicans. Like last time in 12, most millionaires voted for Mitt Romney, but a healthy percentage voted for Obama. So the headline was Marco Rubio jumps to the, I'm not reading it out verbatim, but jumps Marco Rubio, the new favorite of millionaires. That's what it said. The new favorite. So he's the guy that millionaires want to vote for. So you read the article, and there's charts in there, very big and bright. And so Marco Rubio has indeed moved up the most in millionaire preference for president. He's the fastest growing choice. And he definitely did lead all other Republicans in who millionaires want to vote for. But the winner by double what he had was Hillary Clinton. She was the major, by far, the most supported candidate of both parties by millionaires.
But she's not a Republican.
It wasn't about Republicans.
It said
the
headline, Marco Rubio was the new favorite. A new favorite of millionaires,
exactly. Because it was it was both party question. It was not separate.
The only defense I'd offer is because headlines do sometimes elide words that may or may not be necessary depending on your perspective. If the first line of the article was like among Republican, but
the headline did not mention them. Republicans or any party, and it was a picture of Marco Rubio, and his name was the only name in the headline.
Well, but maybe it was supposed to be
the new favorite.
But maybe it is a new favorite, and it was supposed to be understood that they were meaning man or Hispanic or.
What are you talking about?
The new favorite
of millionaires.
Of millionaires. The new favorite what? The new
candidate.
Favorite ice cream flavor.
Candidate.
The new favorite
presidential candidate.
No, but it didn't say that. It said the new favorite
flavored ice cream. Wait a minute, I'm back.
It was only about presidential candidates. I mean,
I understand, but I'm just saying. No.
What are you doing?
What we're talking about is the manipulation of words, right? That's what we're talking about. So I'm bringing up this point as another.
I get what you're saying.
Another possibility of manipulating words. This is what they meant. They didn't include it. Maybe there was an asterisk. Maybe there was nothing.
Well, yeah.
Maybe
I don't know what the agenda behind that misleading headline was. I mean,
get you to read it.
It's CNBC, so I think they're associated with a liberal. A little bit. They're one of those networks that's
so they probably wanted to get conservatives to read it, so at the end they could be like, but Hillary, I fucking hate her.
Yeah.
That's it.
Would it be this?
There it is. Oh, no. Oh, maybe it is. It says GOP.
And that's why.
No, but
top GOP.
I swear, though, the one I saw was a different wording.
Well, but that's the thing about the internet, though. Like, and titles. When you're writing a headline, you have to sometimes elide stuff, and that's why. I mean, if I don't know what the first line is on this article because I'd have to scroll down, and it's really hard to do that and keep my face close enough to the mic. But they may have realized that they fucked up. No, it probably said what you're thinking, and I guess.
And then they changed it.
And then somebody said, "Hey, actually, like maybe they tried to fit Republican. Republican didn't fit, so they cut it out." And then somebody read that and went, "Oh shit!"
I probably missed it, but anyway, it's a picture of Rubio. It doesn't mention the fact that she's the runaway favorite of millionaires, and that's important to me as a Bernie Sanders guy because that's one of my main reasons for supporting Bernie. He's the only guy besides Trump who doesn't have a super PAC, which we explained in an earlier episode. He doesn't take that money. He could take that money, and he doesn't. And for a politician to do that is extremely significant to me.
Right.
And Trump doesn't do it, but of course he's worth $2.8 billion. So it's not as. I mean, I guess that's a check mark in Trump's column. But anyway,
Trump's currency is extremism, man, and it gets him airtime. So he doesn't need.
Yeah.
He doesn't need advertising. He doesn't need to spend any money. He doesn't need money.
Like, what was the other article that you were talking about on the internet about how ABC, NBC, CBS were ignoring Sanders?
Right.
They're not reporting on him.
Yeah.
So then you have to ask a question. Okay, so they're not reporting on him.
Yep.
But every single thing that basically comes out of Trump's mouth, they are reporting on.
Right.
So why is that? Especially from
Ratings.
the liberal media.
Ratings. That's the whole answer. Profit.
So
it's the entire
what are you saying?
It is why
that liberals don't want Bernie either.
It's why
it seems that way.
Goddamn
seems
right
like something,
they don't.
Seems like something else.
Goddamn right they don't. 55% of them want Hillary and 30% want Bernie. So no,
it
you're
seems like
absolutely
something
right.
else supplants their desire to have Bernie Sanders. Maybe whether it's money or a different candidate or whatever. I don't know. But.
Who runs these? Say these networks lean left, which I believe CNN, NBC, they lean slightly left in my opinion. Not as much as some people on the right say, but they do lean left.
I would agree with you honestly because
they're millionaires. These are the richest, most powerful Democrats or liberals, quote unquote liberals that we have. And who are they? Who do they want? Same thing that the millionaire survey came up with. Hillary. They want Hillary. The Democratic Party gave us 6 debates in 2012. There were 26 Democratic primary debates. There's 6 this year.
You're aligning an agenda to them, and
yes.
I'm not. I don't think there's enough evidence to indicate that.
Because, really, Eddie?
Who gets the most coverage?
Well, what is
Trump?
No.
Trump.
But that was just my thing about Trump. And
who gets
and
the second most coverage?
Let's go back to John's original point
Hillary.
About that headline about Rubio. Why would any news organization even write that article and have that headline about Rubio being the favorite, whether it's GOP or whatever, of millionaires? Now, either they want the audience that's reading that to go, I like millionaires. I think millionaires are cool. Yeah. I'm a millionaire. I'm going to vote for Rubio because that's what we're doing. Or they're going to go, fuck millionaires. I hate millionaires. Who the fuck, whoever it is, fuck them.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Rubio? I'm definitely not going to vote for him.
And I'm not going to click on the article either.
If you look in the article, then you would read, no, actually, Hillary Clinton is the favorite. And then you go,
by far.
Well, fuck her then. I'm not going to vote for her. But they don't want you to think that.
Well, but I would argue that the news coverage is directly correlative to whether they've said something that is in some way crazy. Not necessarily crazy, but at least a little crazy. It's some kind of controversialness. Hillary's gotten more coverage in part because there's still all this shit about Benghazi and all this shit about her emails.
Well, she's the favorite too, so it's fair.
Okay,
I mean, she's the polling favorite.
Granted, the media
movie coming out.
Granted, the media panders to the audience, and so they do try to bring controversial stuff that people are going to click on and all that. But the media is really not a shock jock. They're not Howard Stern. They do have an agenda, not just from themselves. They have other people telling them. I don't know if you know this, but a couple of years ago, a law either passed or was struck down. That the media did not have to post truthful stuff. They could post propaganda.
That was a court case with Fox News.
Right. So, but what they said is, the media no longer has an incentive to tell you the truth. They can propagandize.
Yeah, and so in Canada, there's a law against that. And there's a law that says that Fox News and other networks like it have to label themselves as entertainment.
Well, but okay, what do you guys know about Jim Webb?
He was a Democratic candidate for president, and he's a very middle-of-the-road guy, military history, war hero.
The grenade guy?
Vietnam.
Yeah. This is the kill-the-guy.
Yeah.
And that's the first thing you remember. No. I'm not saying anything positive or negative. I'm saying the thing most people are going to know is either Jim Webb is the guy who killed a guy, or didn't one of the Democrats talk about how he killed a guy? Yeah. That's all you get. That's all you know about Jim Webb, unless you make it a point.
The first thing I thought of is I'm like, he's the guy who can't find a party because he doesn't fit in anywhere.
Yeah.
That's the first thing that I thought of when you mentioned his name.
Right, but my point is the only coverage he's gotten is that he killed a guy, and then he brought it up in a debate.
Yeah.
But I mean,
his debate performance.
He kind of brought that up himself.
No, he did. But my point is
that the media didn't run with it. They didn't put out headlines all the time. Oh, Jim Webb, a hand grenade killer of Vietnam soldier, or whatever.
The coverage though is directly tied to the controversy. If Bernie and Hillary did some public clashing, it would get reported. but they aren't really doing public clashing. If anything, they're being relatively respectful to each other because Bernie has class and Hillary has focus group that class is respected.
Right. I love that. It's so true. She has focus grouped. There's been so many jokes about that, about her focus group like telling her to be more natural and spontaneous. It's like, be spontaneous. She's like, okay, spontaneous. Got it. Next time, next debate.
I'll have my people tell me what to do to be spontaneous.
Yeah.
So next debate, she's going to say, I too have killed a man in Vietnam.
She's going to jump up on
But it was last week.
It wasn't during the war, and I wasn't enlisted, but I killed a guy in Vietnam.
Wasn't that the joke in, it was like the Big Lebowski or something.
I think she just might moon the crowd.
But no, I really think if Bernie wants to get more coverage.
No.
He doesn't have to be a dick about it. I'm just saying he has to do
Well,
something.
actually, I agree with you. I think Bernie should be more aggressive and not just calling out Hillary. That's not it.
No, I'm not saying he needs to call her out.
Off-the-cuff stuff about, he's not good at going off script. Bernie really, he struggles
He's like a million
with that.
years old.
What?
And I wish he could just say, look, capitalism has all these benefits and we want to keep those intact, but democratic socialism is there to rein that in.
Aren't you from New York?
He
I expect a much better impression.
He's not from New York. Oh, he is from New
He's
York.
from
He grew up in Brooklyn.
He's from New York.
I'm not from
Don't
the
give
city,
me-
though. And he's a Vermont guy now.
He is, yeah, and I grew up with him. I love Bernie just as a guy. He's a good guy.
But is that even a salient point?
What?
That the media is not covering Sanders?
No,
because that other report about the university or whatever that has done the polling and they've predicted, the president that's going to win accurately, like
so
the
I
last however many times.
Yeah,
and
I posted an
article. Sanders.
Yeah, I posted an article. This university who has this fairly rigorous, scientific, way that they predict presidential elections. They've been right every time since 1975. Most of the time, correctly predicting who the vice presidential pick would be. And then they just released their prediction now, and they challenge themselves. They do it early. They do it, a year before the election or so. And they picked Bernie Sanders as the next president, that did the best in all those mathematical matchups with Republicans and stuff, but that he would be running against Jeb Bush in the general. And they said that the Libertarian Party candidate would get 10% of the vote, and that the Green Party would get 3%. And I'm like, wow, dude, the
I actually
Libertarian
buy
Party,
all of that. I'm not saying I'm not going to assert it confidently.
it's
but
crazy because they never get that much, but this
What'd they
would
get
be the
last
election. 1-2%. This would be the election where they would, because
So many people are disenfranchised with the other two parties.
all those Trump supporters, some of them aren't Nazis. I got news for you guys. A couple guys that support Trump are not in the Nazi party. They're not racist. And those two guys are going to go vote for libertarians and push those percentages up. My point is, in all seriousness, there's so much support for Bernie he's viewed as an outsider, even though he's a career politician, but I can justify why he is an outsider. And then Bernie and Trump have almost the same number of American supporters right now. And Trump, too, represents an outsider and someone who's not afraid to say certain things. And so people are very disenfranchised with the two-party system. And when Hillary gets the nomination and when some Republican like Rubio gets the nomination, those voters, those Bernie people like me and those Trump guys, they're going to be so angry. They're going to be so angry that their candidate, who has so much grassroots support, could not make it past the party system. And those guys are going to gravitate towards some kind of third-party vote maybe. Although that doesn't make sense because in this scenario, Bernie is the nominee. But anyway.
But John, are you a registered Democrat?
No.
Then you won't get a direct hand in picking who the next candidate is. So you don't get to be that mad if they don't pick who you want.
No, you get to change. I can change.
Well, yeah, you could
to Democrat to vote for Bernie.
You would have to change your voter registration.
And
you'd be a registered Democrat.
Actually,
yeah, I don't care. I'll change it back later.
I don't know recently if it's been changed or whatever, but if you're registered independent
in Arizona,
you can vote in one.
I did hear that, Eddie.
No.
I did
you can't vote in both.
I don't think you
can.
can.
But you can vote in one.
Not in the presidential primary. You can vote in any other primary. You do have to pick one. You can vote in the other primaries,
but
but
not
you
the
can't.
presidential?
The presidential, not
in Arizona,
primary is excluded.
We looked this up after a show
confusing.
before. Christine and I did, and I don't think you can, man. I think they might be right. Like it's only the presidential one.
Yeah.
But
I can just switch.
You could.
I mean,
you
when
could just switch. But are you gonna?
I think I already did.
When I first moved
I don't
here,
remember.
Honestly, I couldn't vote, but my parents went to register, and they both wanted to. And this is 1980. They both wanted to register independent. in Santa Cruz County. The whatever recorder or whoever the hell it's called, would not let them. Said, no, you can't do that. You have to register Republican or Democrat. They're like, what? Like, yep. So one chose Republican and one chose Democrat.
They split it? Mm-hmm. That's cool.
But yeah, so
I
like...
got a party for you.
Yeah.
Fuck you, party.
Election laws have been being fucked with and fucking with people for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And it's not just black people. Both my parents are white.
No.
So...
Although that's the first thing I thought about was the 15th Amendment.
And you know, and they do... They do, it seems like they fuck with minorities more than white people.
Oh, yeah.
But they fuck with anybody.
Yep.
They can to try to influence the vote. And my point about Sanders and Trump and all that crap is about media reporting on him, his message is getting out. He's got a majority of people that want to vote for him. And even more that just know what he's talking about and know who he is, Sanders. So the idea that the media is not reporting on him, it's kind of like they're trying to affect, oh, well, if we don't do this, then he won't get, well, then it's going to be triply fucking delicious if he does win, because it's going to be like, media, fuck you.
I know he's like the Metallica of politicians, huh? He's like this totally rich, huge band, no airplay, no big shows, no corporate sponsorship. Yeah. Well, like, Metallica was before Tool, brother.
I know, but they get played on the radio constantly.
Now, not they were huge before they ever got made a video or had any airplay.
Tool's a very good example of it though, because those songs are too long to play on the radio. That's one of the problems, and they're on their own independent label. So, if they're still making music, which they keep threatening to do, how many times have they threatened a new album?
10 years it's been.
It's been 10 years.
I needed that. Like
or actually, ago, you know what? Here's another example too, because like Metallica has been controversial, but Ghost got on fucking Colbert's show.
Yeah, my friend Alexis, shout out, just turned me on to that band just now. They're like a prog rock sort of.
Dude, I think
they're
Greg
fucking Swedish death metal. They come from Swedish death metal. They're not really death metal.
No,
they're not as hardcore as that. I guess prog rock would describe them, but no, they come.
They're considered metal. They're considered a metal band.
It's
It's
definitely on the cusp.
They sound a lot more like
King Crimson
or Blue Oyster Cult even. They sound very 70s kind of
prog rock,
radio.
Prog rock.
Not completely
like
prog
the
rock,
sword,
there's
but
lots
a little
of
bit of
prog
metal
rock that is not heavy.
Anyway,
the
point
has flutes and fucking 7 time changes and you know.
The point is that they expressly like this isn't like a couple songs about the devil. Like their whole shtick is that they're like that their lead singer is the head of the Satanic Church and he's the Pope.
Yeah.
But it's a shtick.
Yeah,
but like the idea that it's on the Colbert Show.
It's real.
The idea that it's on his was it the Tonight Show that he's on?
Yeah, whatever.
They actually got played in the national. Like the idea of a band with that as their express message, even if they're kidding. Getting on a mainstream television show is as extreme an idea as a socialist winning the nomination of a major political party. That was the point I was trying to make.
But actually, if you go back, like Sabbath was the same way. Even though Sabbath's lyrics weren't satanic at all and were actually about they worshiped God and loved God.
But they probably weren't on the Tonight Show.
Good and whatever, but just their imagery and stuff was very dark and evil. So,
but they didn't get on the Tonight Show. Right?
They were on like the what the fuck was it called? The Midnight Show or whatever. It was like some 70s like. You know,
the Dick Cavett show,
Dick Clark or whatever, but on at night.
They got on
and
there.
They were on that. They've been on. Yeah, they had been on a bunch of crap back then. But
I don't know.
They were on a major label. They were on Warner Brothers.
So what are we getting at here, man?
So my point was then about that and the media not So why is that? Why does the media not tell you what Sanders is saying and fucking focus on Trump?
I don't think it's the only thing I can think they want someone to win. I think it's all money.
I think it is because they want someone to win.
I think it's all money.
Ratings. But it's
not money.
No one will click on
Bernie Sanders discusses
neither of those two candidates who they want to win. They don't want Bernie Sanders to win, so they don't talk about him. They don't want you to know about him. They don't want your focus on him. They don't want Trump to win, and that's why they're
financing his campaign.
No, they aren't.
Yes, they are.
The whole entire media is financing Trump's campaign.
Here's a fact. Do
you mean subsidizing then?
They give you the figures on what every candidate has spent so far in the election. Who's at the very bottom of the list? The last guy.
Trump.
He spent $2 million over the last 8 months.
Because he just says controversial shit.
Hillary spent $98 million. Bush has spent $99. Bernie spent $45 million.
All the coverage is of controversial things.
I'm with him.
What?
I think the coverage is tied to the amount of controversy and what falls out your mouth.
Yeah, and I'll go one step further. Because that generates clicks.
Yeah.
So all of the stories are based on what gets clicks, and that's
Well,
where you and me, Mark, have disagreed before.
Clicks, but it also is enforcing the idea that Trump is a fucking extreme Nazi fuckhead that nobody wants.
Yeah, because that gets more clicks.
I'm not arguing with that or without that, but I'm saying why does the media want that represented?
Because it gets more clicks.
Yes, that's part of it, John, but also so that you don't want Sanders. We've eliminated Sanders. Now we eliminate the Republican. Who is there to fill the fucking void?
But the next guy, Cruz.
Which is?
Ted Cruz.
Or Ted Cruz, really? There's not a Democrat?
The next guy up is a chick.
Who you just said was the favorite amongst the fucking millionaires?
Oh, you're saying after they...
After Sanders is gone, after Trump is gone, who is there? Who's the main rising candidate?
You're right.
There's a Heinlein quote. You guys know Heinlein?
And I do believe you that they have a political... Because the people running that thing, they have an opinion, and it's probably just as passionate as any of ours. So, and it's not Trump.
But
so, yeah.
Heinlein had a quote, and Heinlein was pretty far right-wing. Robert Heinlein? Heinlein. I've never met the man. I don't know how to say his name. He had a quote. And I think it was him. And if I'm wrong, somebody can feel free to correct me. I'm sure they will. I believe it was never ascribe to malice that which can be adequately described by stupidity.
Yeah, or greed.
Well, I think that translates to things like never ascribe to conspiracy that which can adequately be described, explained by greed or stupidity. If clicks can 100% explain why the coverage has gone the way it has gone, why are you adding to that? And upon what evidence do you say this is their motivation? It could be. I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying, where's that coming from when it completely can be described by clicks?
I'll give him... I'll answer you. Wait, hold on.
Well, he addressed me.
All right, go ahead.
I addressed... It's true, I addressed Mark.
I'm not saying that isn't the case sometimes. I'm not saying that couldn't be the case totally here. But I don't think it's totally the case. I think you're underestimating the media very much when you say, don't ascribe to malice what you can ascribe to stupidity.
Well, wait.
Because, I'm sorry, but the fucking elites and the people that are in charge are not that fucking stupid.
That's true. They're not stupid people. And I'll give you another...
They're reprehensible. They're horrible. But they're not stupid.
And I'll give you this, too. We just mentioned the CNBC poll of millionaires. That's evidence because the people who run these networks are indeed millionaires. And if the statistical probability is that a millionaire will support Hillary Clinton above all of those other candidates, that works with Mark in terms of these millionaires who run these networks are statistically most likely to be supporters of Hillary Clinton. So that gives an evidential basis for bias among those people that run the networks.
Right, but if what we are describing here is stories, and you can't, and it can be completely described by where's the bias coming in? What makes you assert the bias comes in? Everyone's got a bias about fucking everything. I tell you, the sky's blue.
So then, if everyone has a bias about anything, why are you questioning where the bias comes in? Why are you questioning if there is bias, if everyone is fucking biased?
Because you're saying that the bias affects the reporting. I'm saying that I don't see any evidence of the bias.
Really? The bias doesn't affect the reporting? The bias doesn't affect whatever your fucking thought is on any topic, or mine, or John's, or Brian's?
What story you run and how you
right, but
frame it, like everything on Fox News.
The framing. We were just talking about coverage amounts.
We
were just talking about coverage amounts. How it's framed is a different matter.
Next subject.
Well, just let me say one more thing. The Heinlein quote. He wrote Starship Troopers, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So have you read Starship Troopers? I'm sure you have.
I have.
Would you say that the government and the Starship Troopers and the people that are in charge are basing their actions and everything that they do on stupidity?
Well, let's not get into it because none of us have read it.
I know I've read it, but
you have to have seen the movie.
Yeah, but the movie's very different.
Is the book
the main points?
Is the book a parody like the movie is, or is it a serious sci-fi book?
Serious.
Yeah, it's serious, but
he was pretty far right wing.
But the movie
right wing,
yeah,
but he was like libertarian right wing, I think.
Yeah, I thought it was.
He was libertarian.
I didn't know.
Whereas Verhoeven made Starship Troopers. I mean, this is the guy who made fucking Total Recall. and showgirls. Like
Total Recall, RoboCop,
and RoboCop.
Such a good
The
movie.
best movie about Jesus I've ever seen.
RoboCop
The
is
Matrix?
so
Come on,
good.
man.
RoboCop is way better than The Matrix
Well,
when interpreted as a Jesus
They're so
story.
different. They're so different.
They are very different.
RoboCop is such a good movie.
See?
So dark.
It was dark.
Dead or
should
alive, you're coming with me.
Should we have some fun here? Poe or no?
Sure.
Eddie, what is this game?
Okay, so a Poe or Poe's law. It comes from Poe's law. Poe's law states that with certain extreme ideologies, without some obvious sign that someone is kidding,
Right.
it is impossible or can be impossible to tell the difference between someone who is sincere
Right.
and someone who's fucking with you.
So what you're going to do is you're going to present us statements, or is it quotes?
Quotes.
Okay,
yeah.
quotes. And we have to guess whether this was actually stated by someone who believes it, or whether like Eddie or someone else just made it up. And test this Poe's law here. See if we can.
And these quotes, I've either got a relatively legitimate source, I've got a relatively legitimate source for them.
If they're genuine.
And
Yeah.
it's like this was actually said, because there's actually a lot of quotes you can find where it's attributed to.
Yeah.
But it's like, no direct,
Right.
good citation, and is somebody that it would be a very long con if they were a Poe.
Right.
Okay.
And then the fake,
but
the
there
fake
are
ones
those.
though. Did
There
you
are
make
those.
them up, or where'd you get the fake ones?
You will know when we're done.
Oh, okay.
I did not.
Right.
I definitely did not make them all up.
Okay.
Now, just to expand a little bit. So I explained what Poe's law is,
Mm-hmm.
and when on the internet someone says, "Oh, is that a Poe?" What they're saying is that someone who has adopted an extremist. It's similar to troll, but the specific idea there is it's someone who's adopted an extreme position for the purposes of satire.
Oh,
so a Poe is when you call someone a Poe, you're usually not saying I don't know whether you're full of shit or not.
So when you say the quote,
Could you also describe that person as a beef?
so wait, so when you say the
Take
quote, if I
extreme
say
position
Poe,
for the
I'm
purpose
saying
of
it's fake.
satire.
Yes,
Okay, and no means it's legitimate. Let's
Correct.
just say genuine and fake. How about that?
genuine and counterfeit.
Yeah. Ooh, thank you.
Oh, well
Thank you so
played.
much.
And then
You know
actually,
how gratifying
the
that
no,
Slide
the no
in.
could possibly.
Were you
not
touching
even
him
be
under the
true.
table when you made that reference? Is that-
The no what?
The no could possibly not be true. It just could be very, very good satire.
Right, a very long con, which was the point I was
Right.
making. like,
Okay. But anyway, let's do it. What do you
Okay.
got? Number one.
move the mic here a little bit, just because I got to look at my.
Yeah,
computer
do what
screen.
you got
Hold
to do. No one cares.
on. Should have put it on my phone.
Here we go. We're getting ready.
No, I got it.
Quote
No
number-
cheating.
Don't let Brian see.
The Bible talks about two kinds of Jews. One is called the synagogue of Satan. They're the ones pulling out the pornographic literature. They're the ones putting out these obscene films.
That definitely sounds like it could be real. I'd say real. I'd say that's Ronald Reagan, actually.
Oh shit! It sounds like Herman Goring. That's what it sounds like to me.
So you're saying real?
Yeah, I'll go with real.
Mark?
False.
False.
No.
What do you mean?
I mean, no, not Poe. No.
So genuine or
It's not
false?
It's not. It's false. It's no.
So wait.
Oh no. Sorry. Poe is. Yeah, that's a
why
Poe.
it was-
This
sorry.
isn't-
Sorry.
I did not
Did someone
mean for this
really
to be that confusing.
Did someone really believe that, or was it made up?
Someone might have believed it, but that's fucking made up. That's not in the Bible.
No, but what?
Or Jesus never talked about that.
Mark.
Is
Jesus
this
never-
position
the whole-
genuine? Is
Mark,
this?
the
Did the
quote-
person saying this take this as their
The
genuine
quote
position?
included
Oh,
that it's
I don't
in the
fucking
Bible.
know.
That's the whole point of the game, Mark.
He's not playing. All right,
People believe in insane, retarded shit all the time. You're trying to make me think like, oh no one could possibly believe that.
So
That's
that's a
fucking
pass
dumb.
from Mark.
Yeah.
That's a pass.
what's the answer?
That was Billy Graham talking with Richard Nixon on some of the Nixon tapes from the Oval Office.
Oh, that the tapes themselves were
So
pornographic.
weird that I thought it was
Like
Oh,
as
that-
recorded
oh,
on the
oh,
tapes.
oh, oh.
It's so weird that I thought it was Herman Goring. I'm like, yeah, somebody believed that it was a Nazi.
I thought it was Ronald Reagan
We're
because
not doing Nazis. I'm only doing this week. It's
What's
Christians.
the Nazi?
Oh, it's
what's the
Christians.
Nazi?
Well, it's going to
Okay.
be and the
Will
Nazis
you
explain
frame that
themselves
shit
as
better,
Christians.
man? I'm not ready. I'm on
What's the
slippery
Nazi
footing
law?
over here.
Eventually, you're going to bring up Hitler, no matter what argument. What is that?
Yeah,
one?
there's a law.
Yeah.
an internet law.
I'm
or something.
sorry, I'm not
Go
trying
ahead.
to
Number
derail
two.
the
Number
Yeah,
two.
well, it's not 2 steps from bashing Jews though to get to Hitler.
What do you got? Short one.
The day comes when women will vote in a female president, and on that day, America will enter its death throes. We will become a soft nation that whimsically lashes out at others, likely leading the world into a rage of nuclear Armageddon.
Yeah,
this
is tough because all of them obviously, but this demonstrates Poe's law because they could all obviously be real. You got to get ones that are so extreme, like flat Earth type shit that we were.
Next time I do this, it'll be conspiracy theories.
Because that sounds real to me. I probably said it. It's probably me from like 4 years ago.
Maybe closer to 7 or 8 years ago. But it sounds like John. Yeah, John said that. That's where you found that on one of John's.
Yeah, he went Facebook. He like went in my Facebook.
One of John's old chats.
You should do that. Get one of our own quotes, dude, and have us not even know that it's us. I bet you could do. Brian's got some doozies too. What was that one? All right, forget. I won't say. Go ahead.
What's everybody's vote?
Yeah, I say it's real, man.
I say no.
Brian?
Oh, no, I buy that, man.
So you guys are all saying it is not a Poe.
Yeah, I'm saying it. Someone really believed it.
That is from Christwire, a well-known parody.
Because Hillary will start nuclear Armageddon.
I hope I live to see the day when, as in the early days of our country, we won't have any public schools. The churches will have taken them over again, and Christians will be running them. What a happy day that will be.
That's Chuck Norris.
That's Ben Carson.
So Poe or no?
I'm actually saying it's Chuck Norris.
I gotta say it's real.
It's real?
Yeah, it's real.
I think Chuck Norris.
So that's a unified front on that. That is a real quote?
Yeah.
That was Jerry Falwell in his piece, America Can Be Saved.
Okay. Nice. Yeah. All right. Well, that's good. That's good for the first session. I like that. Very nice. Thank you, Eddie.
I did better on that than I did on yours.
We also have, well, all right, this isn't that great, but anyway, this is this is my challenge to Eddie.
Went off the road real quick.
It's just something I just wanted you to think about as I ponder our rivalry between skepticism and what I call open-minded skepticism, which is don't believe bullshit if you can, look into it, try to debunk it, but also accept it or accept the possibility of it whenever possible. Temper your skepticism with an equal dose of open-mindedness. It's a difficult fence to walk, but that's what I think radical agnosticism is about. This isn't a skeptical podcast where we call bullshit on all the bullshit. We try to do that, but we also say, hey, maybe this crazy thing has something to it too, like voting for Trump. Like maybe there's
infinite
a reason.
Universe, infinite possibilities.
Exactly. So anyway, the thought experiment, well, it was just this. Eddie, you are you, and it's 1890, okay? Science is thriving. The modern age is coming upon us quickly. A lot of great minds at work. You're you, a highly intelligent individual.
Oh, so I'm not me.
And but you have like a top hat and different dress, obviously, a monocle perhaps. Well, you're not.
How do you know I don't have those things already?
Yeah. So and then I'm some other guy. I'm me back then, and we're talking, and we're having our little radio hour, and I bring up the possibility. We'll say it's 1890, so there's probably been like 2 or 3 experiments which showed odd results that would later be explained by something called quantum mechanics. I don't know if I have the dates completely right. Early 1890s, I think, were the first quantum mechanical indications. The first time that the theory was come up with. It was in that area anyway, right?
I won't be a dick. Go on.
And you are just as you are today, you're well educated on the state of science. You understand the basic concepts of several different fields of science, and you're well versed. And I say to you, well, look, I've got this weird study here. It wasn't perfect, but it's really fascinating to me. It might throw out a lot of what we think about classical physics. Okay, it shows whatever the first quantum effects that were shown were. I don't know what they are. Like probably they're trying to study electrons and the measuring the position of them or something, or the double slit experiment. I don't know when that was, but so it's just the first. My point is, if I came to you and said, "Look at this thing. It's a fringe theory, very much fringe, with 99% of physicists will tell you is not possible by classical physics," and I said, "What do you think?" I mean, you being you, I think you would say, well, I want to look into it. I want to look at the study. But can't you admit that given an educated and smart person at that time would think it was bullshit, would think that something happening that could overthrow classical physics is obviously bullshit.
And the way we know it's not is by continuing to test and not continuing to test when like people want to just make shit up. Like like at a certain point you do have an answer. Vaccines don't cause autism. You don't need to keep testing it because people keep wanting to say it.
Right.
But that said, no, I've never argued that we shouldn't look into these things. What I've argued is that often it's all about credulousness. I don't think anything is with very narrow constraints. I don't think anything is impossible. Okay. No matter what crazy idea you put up with me, I may not necessarily speak well. Like I may go, that's bullshit. In the back of my mind, it's possible, but I think what you are presenting is bullshit. I always come back to I hold up a vial and say, this is a cure for cancer. It could be, but if I'm not willing to offer anything more than just, yep, cures cancer, you should think I'm full of shit.
Right.
It may ultimately not be. I may be 100% right, but the way you tell the difference between truth and false is by looking into it and coming up with evidence.
You personally have a very reasonable approach to fringe theories and stuff, but as a representative of the skeptical community, my point is just people.
And that was the origin of Schrodinger's cat.
For the quotes that I have in my book about that, from 1890s of astronomers saying we know 99.999% of what there is to know about our universe. He's like, the only new discoveries are going to be in the 10th decimal place. In other words, we're going to make tiny better. And they knew nothing. They didn't even know that other galaxies existed. I don't think. So. My point is just the state of science can be very convincing to people that we've pretty much got it now. And I submit that we will literally never pretty much have it, and that we certainly don't now.
Well, I like to be optimistic. I like to hope that we will. But no, I would agree that we don't, and I would agree that you should have thought that in 1890, or you think of it in 1990 or 2090, where I plan to still be alive.
Okay.
So good answer. Plan to live forever, die trying.
So laughable that they thought that.
Yeah, isn't it?
People
if you
always
think now,
thought that.
even what we know now, we're so much closer to nothing than we are to everything.
Yeah.
We're barely past nothing compared to everything.
Right. But some scientists and a lot of science writers are tempted to say, but now we're like 78% to knowing everything.
That's
like
the case in any industry.
That's
the case in any industry that requires knowledge. I mean, Bill Gates was famous for saying, like, I don't see why anyone would ever want more than 256K of memory. And it's like,
Well, it's just the human condition. It's how we think.
Or 25
we
megs of RAM
think
or something.
that the future, eventually there's an endpoint of the future. We're going to get to the future where all our problems are going to be solved.
Yeah.
And
it's a Messiah
we're going to know
complex.
everything.
Heaven on earth.
We are going to...
Science is the new Messiah.
Yeah.
So
we've got it all figured the fuck out.
Yeah. And hence, thank you for saying that, Mark, underscores the importance of open-minded skepticism and radical agnosticism itself, because it's like purposely treading that line, that walking on a fence, walking on a tightrope between thinking you've got it and total despair on the other hand. So it's just like you got to constantly try to keep blasting open the doors of your mind as they get calcified through everyday life.
Well, and not just that, but thinking that way about the future in that way, and then so we act upon that because that's what we think is our future and what we're trying to get to. We're basically influencing the human condition, and we're going to change. If we keep thinking that way, we're going to change into something that is not human eventually. The route that we take, because we're thinking about the future is eventually going to be this idyllic fucking paradise, and we're going to have all knowledge and fucking no problems and blah blah blah. I mean, that's what we're setting. But we're setting us up, humans, to fail basically as humans and have to become something else and change. And it also fucks with our present day. Like when you think that, you don't live in the present day. You don't influence the present day. You're always looking forward to, that's when change is going to happen.
But it's important.
That's when I can do something. That's when and you also fuck with, there's plenty of people who are barely living in the present, who are like just fucking holding on by the skin of their teeth. And when you say that, all this future shit, they're like, fuck it, I give up. I can't even, work today. I can't even fucking cope, trying to just do day in, day out shit today. So
utopianism was huge in the late 1800s, pretty much that same era I was talking about. It might have to do with some of their ridiculous, overconfident statements about, science. That utopianism was huge in America and France. That those World's Fairs, it was all about this futuristic stuff, and we're going to solve all the problems. It was before World War I, and it was a very different atmosphere.
It is funny though, because there's a certain irony to you bringing that up, especially with the thought experiment you just gave of the 1890s, and then we're talking about utopianism. There's a book called "Devil in the White City."
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, about H.H. Holmes, right?
Yeah, the serial killer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. In 18, I think it was like 1882, it was 1880 something. I'm never good with years.
1888.
Sure.
It was, or was it the 90s? Because the Chicago World's Fair. I don't know.
How about this?
91?
Sometime in that.
Time
right,
frame. Sorry.
No, it's fine.
Go ahead.
But there was the White City was part of the buildings of the World's Fair at the time. Meanwhile, a serial killer who had killed other people before was building his fucking murder house, where he built this house. And it was like a rooming house.
Yeah.
And not only
I read about this guy.
Yeah.
Not only did he kill most of the workers who worked on it, and or just find a way to like cheat them out of the pay, but then there were like all these like hidden walls and like different chutes down to crematoriums.
The children that he locked inside a trunk while they were still alive, and he just left them there until he burned them or buried them or something. I mean, like a brother and sister or something.
And I think he burned them with acid, so like so like there's marks on the wall from when they tried to kick out the wall.
Yes,
because half of the book is about, it alternates chapter by chapter. It goes architecture, serial killer, architecture, serial killer.
So
they're
going
talking
from that
about the building
utopianism
of the World's Fair. It's very odd, But very good book. Ryan, my buddy. I don't know if he wants me to say his last name. He's sensitive government position.
Ryan Seacrest
recommended that book to me, and he was right. It was
There's also a documentary on Holmes on Netflix.
On Netflix.
Isn't it like the new American Horror Story is kind of...
Yep. The hotel, yeah. But that's actually, Paula knows this, that's based on an actual, if you want to come over and say it real quick. All right, you don't have to. That's based on an actual hotel in New York that was, I think, she can nod if I'm right, built by the serial killer, L.A., owned by the serial killer, and then
yeah, not H.H. Holmes though.
No. And then
is that the same? Okay, I heard this, and I could be wrong. So if you know this, and you actually know what you're talking about, either one of you, anyone here, then you can tell me. Is that the same hotel where that girl was found in the water
Yes.
tanks? That is a fucked up story. You guys watch that video?
Yes, I remember that story.
The girl was,
so
they had
weird.
it on security camera.
How the fuck would she have even gotten in
making
there?
all these strange motions and talking
in the
to
elevator,
somebody,
right? Like she's hiding for a second.
But Brian, though, you would know, to me, when I saw that, I said, this is typical psychosis. This is reaching out and trying to grab something.
That's the first thing I thought, too. Yeah. She's paranoid as fuck. Look at her poor kid.
Yeah, she was in a psychotic state. So I don't know if she was murdered or what, but I don't know how hard it would have been to get into that tank either. I was trying to figure that out.
All the stuff that I read, they're like, how
it was closed or something.
Yeah, they're like, how would she have gotten in here?
Even if you buy the psychotic state thing, because I mean, some people are like, it's ghosts. So obviously, I would not jump to that personally,
right?
But even if she's in a psychotic state, if I understood it correctly, she didn't really have a history of it. Like, I mean, because like there's people who've had a history of psychotic, and then something happens. It's very unfortunate, but you kind of get it.
No, but
she had no real
like
history.
A young girl, right? Early 20s.
She was a college student.
Yeah. That's the prime time, though.
Yep.
For certain kinds of psychosis.
Schizophrenia.
The prime time to hit your
No, it totally is.
Richard Ramirez stayed there.
Oh, had stayed in that hotel.
Yeah.
So weird.
Richard Ramirez.
Good old. Horrible.
I love the way he got caught.
How
he
those cholos ran him down. Cholos took him down, dude.
He like ran from to the cops. Yeah. He's like, save me from them.
Yeah. They were kicking his ass.
They were doing work on him. Yeah. He was all beat up when they first caught him. The neighborhood rubbed his ass in.
Because
baby.
That face was all over TV, and you could not mistake that dude.
Once, some girl got away from him, right? Like he ended up jumping out a window, and that's how his face got out. Something like that.
Yeah. Several of the. Oh yeah, and several of his victims survived. Several of them did. Yeah. He would leave a lot. Sometimes he would tie up the man and rape the wife and kill her, and then leave the dude there and all this.
But the L.A. hotel story, the ickiest part of that for me was after she disappeared, and quite a while passed, at least like maybe a couple days or a week or something.
It was 3 weeks.
It 3 weeks?
I think.
Until they discovered her body.
You were showering.
Where she was, that was the drinking water, showering water for the whole entire hotel. So people were drinking.
How long was it?
Water she was in.
I believe it was 3
showering
weeks.
water.
Oh, that's not
it was
good.
a while.
No, that's not good. That that's messed up, man.
I'm sure there's some homeopathic.
Yeah, you go down and you like drink nothing but holy water for a month, right?
Or someone's like, I had cancer and then I stayed there during that period of time and it was cured.
Yeah.
I do have psychosis, though.
And I'm a zombie now. I have to eat dead people.
I can climb walls.
Yeah.
Shoot webs out of my wrists. I don't know what the fuck happened.
Does everyone want to do this for another 45 to an hour?
Yeah, sure.
All right, so let's finish off this segment here with Brian. Last night, man, UFC, Conor McGregor, the Irishman, did some work. Everyone was talking about this guy Jose, which Joe Rogan calls Jose.
Jose Aldo.
Does he say that his own name that way?
Yeah.
Okay, Jose Aldo.
Is he Brazilian?
Yeah, he hasn't lost in he's held the belt for 7 years. He hasn't lost in like a decade.
So this is the UFC featherweight division.
Yeah, I think it's 145.
Yeah.
And
Conor McGregor, known for his antics, shit talking, and wild man sort of persona.
Crazy Irishman.
These little.
He's
guys.
honestly, man. He talks too much shit. He's really disrespectful, but man, he makes me laugh. He's just what I think that every crazy Irishman is. Like when I see him, I'm like, that's what Irishmen
is.
Is
he one of the coaches of the Ultimate Fighter?
He was with the Uriah Faber one.
Yeah. Okay.
So now
they should have a reality show together, him and Faber, because they're so funny
and
together.
A lot of like a crazy number of Irish people
came
to Vegas
they were
for
singing.
this fight, and they always do. Rogan talks about it all the time, and they're chanting and singing their drinking songs and all that. And those guys are.
They booed the shit out of Jose when he came out.
Yeah. So is he Brazilian?
Brazilian.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is he a jiu-jitsu guy? Or?
Well, he's been a world champion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
In the gi?
In the gi.
Oh my god!
Saw a picture of him on the podium getting his medal. Little dude.
big hyped up fight, and then
13 seconds. McGregor just fucking turned his lights out.
So,
dude.
and this is the thing: all the people who paid for the show like get pissed off because
you know what?
Because it's up online because it's a 15-second video, so they can't stop that from circulating.
No, it's out. It was out like within seconds.
I saw it within seconds.
Within seconds of it being over.
Did you see that?
I saw it on Facebook.
Oh my god! So there's so much energy, especially Jose Aldo is so pumped. He's doing his little hand fake thing where he just kind of, jerks off in the air with his hand, and it's whatever. It's his style, and he's got his low sort of karate almost stance, and then he's pretty aggressive coming at Conor.
He landed a good shot on Conor.
Right. So
after Conor hit him,
same time.
Conor hit him first.
Conor hit him just slightly
slightly ahead
and
of him.
Jose leaps in. This is 8 seconds in to the fight now. Jose leaps in for a big punch.
Was already out
which
when
actually
his punch
connects.
landed.
Yeah, he was going to punch Conor when Conor hit him and knocked him out.
Conor with a left.
And then Jose landed the fucking punch too, which I thought it would have been awesome if they both would have knocked each other out like fucking Creed and Stallone.
It has happened before. Gray Maynard and another guy, they were both fucking out, and they called it a draw because they were both knocked out.
Oh my god! So Jose gets tagged by a left as he's coming in with his own left, and he's just done. He just planks, hits the mat.
Oh yeah, starched,
and then Conor comes in with a
couple
hammer fist. The first one looked nasty. It looked like he wanted the head to break like an egg.
And the ref got there quick and stopped it.
Then it was over, and that was it, man.
He did, but like the way you illustrated the fight going down, like Conor, he's usually like a brash guy. He doesn't say anything you'd think is explicitly smart. But then he has like the fight quote of eternity.
What is that?
Afterwards, he says, man, Jose was a great champion. He's really fast and he's really strong. But precision beats power and timing beats speed.
And that is an awesome quote. The more you think about it, the better it gets, especially the timing beats speed part. Because you never you never hear, like, you hear a lot, like, speed can beat power. You'll hear that. So, like, especially in jiu-jitsu, little guys can beat big guys, and we do it all the time if we're better because we have speed because we're littler or they're littler, and the bigger guy has the power, but the speed gets you in the right position. You can take the big guy out. But you don't usually hear what can beat speed.
Right.
And it's timing.
Timing
can beat speed. Now, that is pretty profound.
And if you break that down even further, what he's saying is like he has the athletic gifts over me. He may be a more gifted athlete.
Right.
But because of training, because of technique, what he's really saying is technique can beat everything.
And that's pretty much our mantra.
Because that's what precision and timing are. They're technique. You train for those things.
Yeah, over and over.
Walk me through this because I don't quite understand. Your timing beats speed.
Right.
Yes.
So what do you mean by timing?
Well,
because I would say that he hit the other guy first. So
but
that's speed.
Jose threw first.
He might have threw first, but he didn't land first.
No,
but it was
so that's what he's saying. He timed he studied. I guarantee you, he's watched tapes of Jose.
Speed.
No.
Whenever we leave something, if I beat you to the end, that's speed. That's not timing. Timing is on beat. Timing is a rhythm.
Yeah, what I'm telling you is that he had studied the way Jose fights.
Okay.
So he.
I don't have a problem with that. But that still is not timing.
But I'm going to start by saying, wait, I don't know dick about fighting, and I didn't see the fight. But just to address the mathematical question you're asking, if we are 6 feet away from each other, and you throw a punch that will take 6 minutes to land, or 6 seconds to land, and these are made up numbers. They're made up numbers. Cut me some slack here. I'm trying to remember. 6 feet away, you throw a punch is going to take 6 seconds. I know my punch is like 1.1 second, so like I can't punch at the same time and meet you. So I wait because you have to close that distance to make that punch.
And the speed of the first fist arm might be actually faster airspeed than Eddie's punch, but because Eddie waited until the guy's head got closer, the slower punch could actually beat the faster speed of the first punch,
or maybe
because
it's faster over short distance,
because it waited for the distance to close.
Plus, it's not just those two things against each other. It's not just the speed against the timing. It's the speed and the precision against the timing. Plus all those other things.
And the distance.
And I'll illustrate it in even a more personal way. Why is it that my old ass can tear up young, athletic guys that are way better athletes than me, in way better shape, way faster? Because even though they're a better athlete than me, they're going to move faster, they're going to move more explosively.
Stronger.
By what I know of fighting, I know where they're going, so I can just be waiting.
It's
there
just
for
knowledge.
Them.
It's that they're at this attack,
and that's what he means, though.
Okay,
like because of all his training and how much he's fought and how much he studied the discipline of fighting, like that's why he won.
Right.
And so in a way, he's telling you like you can fucking do that too.
No, yeah, but to me that's precision / knowledge / experience /
well, that doesn't make it as good of a quote, does it?
No, it doesn't. But I mean, that quote.
And so I'm being semantical here.
Plus, when speed in terms of a fighter is not generally speed of a single punch per se. It's their overall ability. So if the other guy's like generally faster, but I've only got one punch, and it's going to be faster and more powerful.
Well, with Jose Aldo, it was a lot of things because he was really fast. He's explosively fast. He has good hand speed as far as throwing combinations. Like he's.
But you know, the only thing I could think about, and this is what I texted Bryan last night, was I was just like, oh my God, like I feel so sorry for him. Like the buildup was so big, and he was so ready. When you do see those 8 seconds, he's almost too energized. He probably would have gassed. I don't know how good his cardio was.
Connor got so under his skin.
Yeah,
like
he was just. Jose was so ready for this big moment and millions of people screaming and watching, and then he just gets knocked out. I mean, and you know he's not even tired. You know when he wakes up, he's not tired. He's probably not sweating.
Was one of them already like the champion of this thing?
Jose.
He was.
He hadn't been beaten in a decade.
Year?
Yeah, he defended the title like 7 times.
He was defending the title.
He's the only featherweight champion the UFC's ever had.
So McGregor didn't have a
he had an interim belt because Jose got injured and missed the fight. Right. So
that's why
they were kind of equal.
That's why Joe Rogan said
the thing that made
Connor's not the real champ. Let's say it how it is, and that got him some fire.
Now Connor's the real champ. And the funny thing about him is he's brash. He's talked all this trash, but he's done exactly what he said he was going to do.
Yeah,
he came in and he cleaned out the division. He said he was going to knock Jose out in the first round. Knocked him out in the first round.
I don't hate fighters who talk shit. I'm sorry. All these people wanted Ronda to lose. They wanted Conor to lose on Facebook.
I don't like it, but I don't hate him for it.
I don't like it, but to me, it's just
because I love the Diaz guys.
It's just a gimmick. It's publicity. You're in a giant business when you're at the top of the UFC.
Plus,
you have to manage that business.
Plus, bro, look, seriously, we're not here to play chess. We're going to punch each other in the face. It's not friendly.
What I hate exactly, and what I hate. Rousimar Palhares, fighters who are unethical.
Yeah.
Talking shit to your opponent isn't anything to me. I don't care. It's all just words.
Right.
Unethical fighters like that.
After
asshole,
you tap and he breaks your knee anyway,
he does a submission. You tap and he holds it until the injury increases.
Continues to crank it.
Cranks it to where now you've tapped out. You've lost the UFC match now. Now your tendons are tearing off of the bone. The whole point of tapping, and it's an ingenious system, is that you can practice at 100% power and speed. You can go all the way in the sparring match because when the guy taps, you stop. And he doesn't get hurt because people have the ability to tap to submit before injury occurs 99% of the time. This guy
it's
intentionally
a great back door. I got to tell you, I'm so glad you have it available to you to
You
tap.
can't do that in boxing. You can't do that in a lot of martial arts. You can't.
I mean, you can fall down.
Right.
In boxing, you just fall down. It's the same thing.
Fall down and cover up and cry and say uncle. But this guy, in fight after fight after fight, getting himself banned from organization after organization, now banned from the UFC. This guy he's a badass. He's awesome at jiu-jitsu. He does a lot of footlocks. I admire his game, and I hate him. I hate this guy because
he's like Ivan Drago. Is that what we're going with?
He's worse.
He's worse, dude.
Ivan Drago killed a guy.
No,
he's gonna heel hook you.
At least Ivan said... What did he say?
I will break you.
He's like a machine. He at least
and
gave
Apollo
it up.
never tapped.
He gave it
never
up to
tapped.
Rocky.
He kept standing. He never tapped.
Yeah. And Palhares, time after time, holds it and cranks it and injures the guy, ruining that dude's career, or at least postponing by
these
years.
Fighters aren't rich, dude.
No. They don't
They're
get paid
rich
like
guys.
boxers.
No,
They're
don't
not
get close to
1/10.
boxers.
But has he been checked out? Maybe he's got nerve damage. Maybe he doesn't feel the tap.
No,
when someone
dude.
taps him.
I'll tell you where his nerve damage is.
Nice try, Mark.
Dumb as a stump, dude.
Hate that dude. Anyway, that's the Radical Agnostic, episode 40, part 1. Stay tuned for part 2. We'll be right back. Bye-bye.
Glaven.